Okay, so in part one of Jan Morris's Conundrum, um, the theme of gender roles really stood out to me, just because that did come up so many times. We know from a young age that Jan knew she should be a girl. She was 3 years old when she first realized that. Um, we haven't gotten to the part where she transitions, and I did some research, and spoiler, she doesn't fully transition until she's 46 years old. Um, so on page 11, she just kind of describes that she feels like she's living a lie, basically. And she says, as I grew older, my conflict became more explicit to me, and I began to feel that I was living a falsehood. I was in masquerade, my female reality, which I had no words to define, clothed in a male pretense. Um, so Jan just kind of talks about how she's not being true to herself. She's not really being truthful to others. Like in her mind, I guess, in her heart, she knows that she's supposed to be a woman, but she she's like admitted that to herself, but she hasn't been able to really tell anyone else about that. Um, then on page 13, Jan describes, the gender roles that were common at the time. And she says, man was for hard things, making money, fighting wars, keeping stiff upper lips, beating errant schoolboys, wearing boots and helmets, drinking beer. Woman was for gentler, softer purposes, healing, soothing, painting pictures, wearing silks, singing, looking at colors, giving presents, accepting admiration. So, just from what Jan describes, men are for, being tough, and women are just soft and elegant and weak. But Jan doesn't want to be a weak woman. She wants to be strong, but she appreciates that women are gentle and soft, and that's what she identifies with. Um, then there's a time period where Jan is in Oxford, and she spends a lot of her time in a cathedral in Oxford. And during this time, she has a period of self-reflection, self-discovery, I guess, she knows who she is, but it's just a deeper, just a deeper reflection of who she is. And so the quote I use is on page 19. Our very vestments seemed intended to deny our manhood, and the most beautiful of all the characters of the Christian story, I thought, far more perfect and mysterious than Christ himself, was the Virgin Mary, whose presence drifted so strangely and elegantly through the Gospels, an enigma herself. The way that Jan is describing the Virgin Mary just kind of shows that how she feels that Mary embodies what it means to be a woman, and how Jan just aspires to be like that. Then again on page 21, kind of going along with this same idea, Jan says, it seemed a logical enough aspiration if woman was so elevated and admirable a being as history, religion, and good manners combined to assure us. I was soon disillusioned, though, for my friend deftly diverted the conversation into a dirty joke, and I withdrew hastily, giggling and askew. So this is a time when Jan is kind of trying to confide in her friends about, oh yeah, it's normal for boys to want to be a girl, right? And they play it off as a joke, but it's not a joke to Jan. That's really how she feels. And so she just really wants to embody that purity and softness of being a woman. Then, as she goes off to school, I think it's in Lansing, where Jan pursues relationships with the prefects, and she goes on to say, I was the object of advances, and thus my inner convictions were thrown into an altogether new relief. It seemed perfectly natural to me to play the girl's role in these transient and generally light-hearted romances, and in their platonic aspects I greatly enjoyed them. It was fun to be pursued, gratifying to be admired, and useful to have protectors in the sixth form. So this is like the traditional girls are getting chased in the schoolyard by boys. Jan recognizes the gender roles in her society, and she plays off of both of them. As a male, she's embracing female aspects of getting pursued, being soft and gentle, and just kind of appreciating that. She likes playing this game. So I think this just kind of ties into gender roles. There's more I could talk about of gender roles. I just don't have enough time.